In this IoT Radar, we're going to drive you to the edge of your horizon together with Alessandro Grande, and he is the Director of Technology with Edge Impuls. I'm going to discuss this edge business. Alessandro, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning, Luis. I'm great. How are you?
Excellent. Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm really looking forward to our discussion about edge computing and Edge Impuls. But let's start with the easy part. What exactly is this edge business about? What is it, edge business?
Great question. So edge, it's to me, it's a big opportunity for all of us. It's a big opportunity to make sense of data that we usually extract from our devices, from our products, and we usually throw away. So for many, many years, in IoT, we've been building IoT systems for a while now. We've been extracting a lot of data from sensors, but we've not been using them at all, right? Like in a lot of cases, we see customers extracting data and using a 1% of the data they extract. And what we're kind of working on here together with the big ecosystem that we have around us is about really kind of extracting as much value as possible from that data that we extract from all the sensors. And how do we do this? Well, there's a lot of different techniques. Some of them are kind of very ancient. They've been around forever, right? Like digital signal processing has been around forever.
Sure.
I mean, artificial intelligence and machine learning has been around forever as well, right? What has changed recently is that there's been new advancements in the software and in the hardware, right?
Okay.
That allows machine learning now to run on embedded devices. And when I say embedded devices, I mean everything from GPUs, obviously, to Cortex-A Linux-based devices, to microcontrollers. And with the new advancements, the recent advancements around TinyML, we're able to run machine learning workloads on the smallest of those MCUs, right? The smallest of those devices.
Yeah.
And one last thing I wanted to really kind of highlight is that when we talk about machine learning, we're not talking about some crazy artificial intelligence that lies into the processor or sits into the processor. What we're really talking about in practice is actually we're talking about having a mathematical model that's pre-trained that then is able to run in the device itself and do inference to be able to make sense of the data that's being fed into the system. Right?
Well, it's good you mentioned that, because I think a lot of people are really confused about artificial intelligence and machine learning. What exactly are you providing? If I'm a developer, lots of developers are watching the IoT Radar. If I'm a developer, how easy is to have access to what you're offering? What exactly can I find there? And if I need an edge solution, how easy or how difficult it is to deploy that? These are a lot of questions, sorry.
No, that's great. I mean, I'll start from the beginning.
Yeah.
So I see, our role, and you mentioned we've been around for 2 years, right? TinyML and the whole concept of running machine learning on edge devices has been kind of in the makes for maybe, let's say 5 to 10 years, right? Like this is a massive development that's taken a lot of cycles because effectively, a few years ago, we didn't have hardware that was capable to run machine learning models on the smallest of the devices, right? And on the other end of the spectrum, we didn't have software capabilities to run these models on edge devices, right?
Yeah.
So what has changed is really the kind of the ubiquitous positioning of ARM with all the microcontrollers that are kind of permeating the world right now. There's MCUs everywhere, and these MCUs are more and more capable. They're now capable of really running complex mathematical operations in timings that are decent for the applications that we need them to run for.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, we've had a lot of developments with Google TensorFlow that's evolved into TensorFlow Lite, and then it's evolved into TensorFlow Lite Micro, right? So we are kind of at the center of this ecosystem. We founded Edge Impuls 2 years ago, and since then we've been working on really simplifying the workflow for developers to deploy machine learning models on edge devices. And you asked the question of how easy is that? Nothing has ever been easier. I think You just go to Edge Impuls's website, you register, so you make an account, you register, and the platform is available online, right? So you just access the platform online for free, and at that point you have all the capabilities you need to deploy a model on your device. And that's why we're seeing a lot of uptake with a lot of customers and developers in general using our platform and deploying to all their devices. I mean, just to give you some numbers here, in the last 2 years since we founded the company, we had a total of 40,000 projects that have been made on our platform. And the ecosystem that we have has inside about 10,000 enterprises.
Now, I see a lot of things happening with Edge Impuls, lots of partnerships. What is the next step? What is actually happening on the edge, on the horizon of Edge Impuls?
Great question. I like to think that I have a crystal ball, even though I don't. So I'll try my best here.
Yeah, sure.
But effectively, we're seeing a shift in more capabilities being added to really low power devices, right? We've just partnered with, you mentioned a couple of our partners. We are partnered with most of the silicon vendors out there. And recently we've partnered with a couple of really interesting silicon vendors that are providing edge devices that are not just, the typical MCU anymore, neural network accelerators into the SoCs, right? So we're seeing more and more of those. And those are like really enabling a new class of applications on these low-powered devices, right? So we're going from being able to run, type of like sensor recognition, so like gyroscopes or accelerometer recognition on low-end MCUs. And now with these new devices from Sentient, Synaptics, for example, and Aleph, we've managed to really kind of shrink down the models and make them run on these low power devices. And when I say models, I mean anything from keyword spotting, sound recognition, to in some cases also we're able to run actually some object detection, object recognition and object detection, so actual camera streams on these low power devices, right? So I think on the hardware side, this is what's happening. We're seeing more and more capable devices that are going to run more and more complex workloads, right? And we are partnering with some of the most exciting companies in that space.